Welcome to Martin Tales, a place where true life stories are told for your delight. Today, we journey to Asaki village, a quiet and peaceful settlement in southwest Nigeria. The village wakes up to another ordinary day. The sun rises behind the tall palm trees, casting golden light over the mud brick houses. Even as smoke rises from cooking fires, and the distant laughter of children echoes through the narrow paths. But for one family, today is anything but ordinary. Outside a modest hut, Daniel, a young and hardworking man, prepares for a new beginning. Daniel lost his father when he was just 11 years old. Since then, he has worked tirelessly alongside his mother, Mrs. Yinka, and his two younger sisters, Ominat and Romota. Life hasn't been easy, but through hard work and determination, he has managed to save some money. Now, he is ready to start a new chapter with his wife, Buki. She is a beautiful young maiden from the same village, and their wedding was a simple but joyous occasion. Today, they are leaving Asaki village to build a new life in the city. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, hit the subscription button and turn on your notification bell so you won't miss any of our stories. Let's continue. Daniel stands outside their family home, staring at the hut that holds so many memories. His mother and sister stand beside him, their eyes filled with emotions. Mrs. Yinka steps forward and said, "My son, you are about to enter a new world. The city is not like the village. I want you to be careful." Daniel nods, trying to remain strong. "Mama, I promise to visit as soon as I settle down." Ominat, always the playful one, grins. "Brother, just don't forget us when you become a rich man in the city." Everyone laughs, but there is an undeniable sadness in the air. Daniel looks around the house, his expression changing as if sensing something unknown. He pauses. "I won't." His words hang in the air. A few villagers gathered to bid them farewell. Women, men and children excited. Whisper prayers for Daniel's safe journey. Buki, dressed in a beautiful blue wrapper with gold embroidery, stands beside their packed bags. Her beauty contrasts sharply with the simplicity of the village. Daniel walks over, picking up the bags. He glances back one last time at his family. Mrs. Yinka to Daniel, "Stay safe, my son." "Go well, brother, we will miss you." Daniel exhales deeply. "I will miss you all too." A vehicle rumbles in the distance, kicking up dust as it approaches. As they climb into the car, Mrs. Yinka waves. Her lips quiver, but she refuses to cry. As the vehicle moves forward, Daniel leans out, still waving, until they disappear from sight. Mrs. Yinka exhales heavily, turns, and walks back into the house, her smile fading. Days turn into weeks. Weeks turn into months. Villagers still go about their daily routine, women still fetch water, men still farm, and children still play in the dusty paths. But inside Mrs. Yinka's home, something is different. She often sits by the door, staring at the dusty road where Daniel left. One evening, as Ominat and Romota prepare the evening meal, they hear their mother sigh deeply. "Will I ever see him again? Will he truly be okay?" Ominat notices her worried expression and places a gentle hand on her mother's shoulder. "Walk to her and say, 'Mama, Daniel is strong. He will be fine.'" Mrs. Yinka nods slowly, but her eyes remain distant. Without Daniel's help on the farm, life becomes harder. The rains are unpredictable, and crops don't grow as they should. The market days are becoming tougher, and money is getting scarce. One day, while returning from the farm, Mrs. Yinka stops, clutching her back in pain. Ominat and Romota rush to her side. "Romota, worried mama, are you okay?" She forces a smile. Mrs. Yinka replies, "I'm fine, my children. Just a little tired." But deep down, she knows her body is not as strong as before. One afternoon, a villager returning from the city brings a letter. Ominat and Romota rush to their mother, excited. "Mama, a letter from brother Daniel." Mrs. Yinka's hands tremble as she opens the letter. Daniel's letter reads, "Dear Mama, Ominat, and Romota. The city is big and different from the village. There are tall buildings everywhere, and life moves so fast. I have found work, but it is not easy. I miss home. I miss you all. Iriti is fine. She sends her greetings. I promise to send money soon. Tears fill Mrs. Yinka's eyes as she presses the letter against her chest. Mrs. Yinka, whispering my son. Ominat and Ramota smile, but deep down, they know Daniel is struggling. 4 years pass. The once lively home is now quieter. Mrs. Yinka still hoping for words from her sons. Ominat and Ramota are doing their best to make sure things are going well in the family. One stormy night, as thunder rumbles in the distance, Mrs. Yinka sits outside, stirring a pot of soup over an open fire. Ominat and Ramota chat beside her, laughing softly. Suddenly, Mrs. Yinka stops stirring. She drops the spoon and stares into the darkness as if hearing something unseen. Ominat looks up, confused. Ominat asks, "Mama, what is it?" Mrs. Yinka doesn't answer. She stands up slowly, she breathes heavily. She walks into the hut, gripping her chest. Then, without warning, she collapses. Her body hits the ground. Ominat and Ramota scream. "Mama, oh! Mama, oh! Help, oh! Somebody help, oh!" What happens next will shock you. Will Mrs. Yinka survive? And where is Daniel now? Find out in part 2. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.